In the last 2 years, ChatGPT has become one of the most widely used digital tools among students at the University of Toronto. Whether it's for summarizing readings, structuring essays, generating ideas, or checking understanding, AI has rapidly integrated itself into the academic lives of undergraduate and graduate students alike. But this growing dependency also introduces a crucial question for universities. What is happening to students' core learning abilities? Are critical thinking, text analysis, and recall improving because students can clarify confusion instantly, or are these skills being outsourced to AI? This interview project examines the research question, how is AI, specifically ChatGPT, affecting U of T students' critical thinking, quality analysis on text, and recall? To investigate this, we spoke directly with U of T students about their experiences, how they use ChatGPT, whether it has changed their approach to coursework, whether they feel their reading or writing abilities have shifted, and how they view AI's growing presence in higher education. So, let's find out how ChatGPT is shaping the minds of students who are learning to become professionals, researchers, and thinkers.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely use ChatGPT for schoolwork, and everyone around me uses it.
In this case, I did use ChatGPT.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, for sure.
Not often.
What I use it mostly for is I would give it my drafts so that it improves the grammatic, formal format so that it's flowing better.
Most of my schoolworks are research papers. So that means I need to do a lot of researches to benefit the efficiency of the research.
It's a good starting point for me whenever I want to start on an assignment, and a lot of times I lack motivation to just start it off, and once I'm able to do that, things just sort of fall in place. So ChatGPT helps me just brainstorm ideas.
I use it for, when I do use it, occasionally it's like after I read an article, I'll summarize the article. I will use it to correct my spelling sometimes. And I'll also use it if I want to finish my sentence. If I need to finish an essay fast, and I'm like, okay, I need this last sentence or this last paragraph, last paragraph of a sentence, last paragraph of an essay. I'm like, just wrap it up, and then I won't directly take from that, but I will adjust it how I see fit.
I think if I've written my paragraph, my essay, I would want to see what feedback they would have, and to see which areas I could improve.
It's hard to say because I use ChatGPT for most of my study parts.
I use it more often for assignments when I don't have much time.
100%, but I don't think the cause of that is me relying on it more every day, but more so understanding the abilities of it and understanding the way I can make it perform better, because a lot of times it doesn't give you exactly what you want, and that sort of demotivates you or makes you question the credibility of it. But I think we need to flip the way we look at it, because it's not at our disposal to just procrastinate on everything and let it do everything. Rather, we can, having the right idea behind it, we can extract the exact ideas and the exact, inspiration we want on some projects. And after that, as I said, things just sort of start to fall into place.
With ChatGPT, they have improved. When I give it a draft, it doesn't change the way the draft sounds. So it's still me, but it's a better version of my draft. So yes, my writing skills have definitely improved.
Very familiar with how the chat writes, so it actually influenced how myself writing my essay.
I think specifically for Anther because it's kind of more niche. The information is just not as accurate. I
think the higher, the more advanced you get, the easier it is for ChatGPT to make mistakes. I think at that point also ChatGPT just kind of becomes useless,
I do think it's a really big issue just because if you are pursuing higher education, the whole point of it is to challenge yourself. I don't think it really deserves a place in academia. Obviously, it'll be kind of hard to take out and like work around it, but I think there needs to be more actual consequences.
From my perspective, university students got their like consciousness about what is good, like what is creative or what is original. ChatGPT's convenience obviously provided us the lure, like to rely on them. But it's important to university students or maybe higher education students to have that mind to, like I said, re-examine what AI told us.
As I said, I think it's a great tool for students to use, especially in universities, because there's just a broader range of tasks that university students are required to do, and there's like a deeper level of research involved. A lot of high school tasks are like easily accessible through textbooks or all of those things, but university requires you to do a lot of research and learn about a lot of things from around the entire world essentially. So ChatGPT is like a good central point for all information that anyone from, like, despite their background of study and whatever they're pursuing, can look towards to seek some kind of help.
Across all interviews, one theme keeps coming up. Students want efficiency, not replacement. About 80% use AI as a tool but reject letting it write full assignments. Roughly 10% refuse to use it altogether, and another 10% say their use depends on the discipline. In practice, most students turn to AI to go study or to polish their work, not to do the writing for them. Around 45% use it for brainstorming and outlining. Another 45% for grammar and flow polishing, and about 30% for summaries and study notes, and roughly 10% for rubric-based self-checks. What's missing is read my essay again and again. Students stressed that the ideas and the final sentences should be theirs. Trade-offs is emergent. Around 30% described habits formation regime for AI by default due to convenience. About 10% reported less reading when learning on summaries. Another 10% noticed voice homogenization, where writing starts to sound like AI. Roughly 20% shift critical thinking toward fact-checking and credibility. And about 20% raised risk, penalty concern.
Overall, I would say most people feel pretty negatively about the use of AI for schoolwork and within academia, but they will say that it has some uses. Some people say it's a good starting off point. Some people use it as like a grading mechanism, so they'll put their work into chat and have it review it. People have a lot more reliance on it. Like, her question is, would you still be able to do the assignments if you didn't have this tool? Like, since you're using it for what it seems like nearly everything, and you're saying that you're still doing the work, would you actually be able to do it without this crutch or this support? And question 4, she thinks it prevents students from using their own creativity or their own brain. Those were the responses that I got. Generally, they're negative. Generally, people are hesitant to use it. They don't think that there's enough penalty for those that use it in academia.
I fully agree with all of what your interviewee said. I definitely think that in higher academia, GPT shouldn't be used as much as it is.
My interviewer all think the ChatGPT is useful too for their studies. So for my interviews, I found that students see ChatGPT as a real helpful academic tool and saves much time and making study more efficient. Many use it to polish grammar and improve writing flow. And he also said, that's an interesting point, that he said university shouldn't ban AI, and instead to teach students how to use it responsibility, and which he agrees with that. Yeah, I think the real challenge isn't the whether to use AI or not, but how to use it while keeping our own thinking and independent thinking. Yeah.
Interesting to see how both of your responses are almost on like opposite ends. Because, well, Victoria, you said that most of your interviewees were very much anti-GPT, or at least for the most part. But Brianna, you said that some of your interviewees were for it in academia. So it's interesting how those opinions can shift.
Maybe it's the culture different because my interviews more from the Asian.
A background on my respondents, but they were all women, or non-binary. Everyone was born in Canada, but different like ethnicity, like ethnic backgrounds.
The interviewees that I spoke with, you shouldn't rely on GPT to do everything for you, and that you still need to have some critical thought that goes into your work that's away from the AI. So for my first interviewee, he said that he mostly uses it for summaries, specifically summaries of readings or articles. They said with GPT, because it's so like effective, it helped him like get on it quicker. GPT is so accessible and it's just always there and you know it's there, that he found it difficult not to use it. From the times that he did try to do some of the readings on his own, it's just because he knew that something could do it so quickly and efficiently for him. He said that it helped with his confidence to generate more ideas, especially when he's lacking content. He also claimed that he doesn't rely on it, but he does understand its ability and how it could make it perform better, quote unquote better. One thing he did mention is that because of GPT, he's also been using it to summarize his readings, and he has noticed a decline in how much he is reading. She was a bit more unique for my interviewees because she claimed that GPT actually improved her writing skills. She uses it for summaries, but she also uses it as she's written her drafts for an assignment. She'll put it into GPT to see how it could be improved. She claims that GPT doesn't change her writing, as in like it does change her writing, but it still sounds like her, just in a different form. But again, this would be with the generalized GPT language.
For me, I think it's interesting that people can draw a line, that there are certain use cases that are okay, and we acknowledge that there is algorithmic biases and there are automated influences as well. I think at any point that you engage with ChatGPT, you have to be aware of those influences. But I don't want to completely discredit it because I know that it can be helpful in a very real way for a lot of people. I think it limits accessibility barriers to certain tools for people.
Yeah, I mean, GPT and other AI platforms aren't really going anywhere, as we said before. I mean, we could compare this to when computers first came out. Universities tried to ban them in academia because they claimed that it was like, it was seen as cheating. Like you have like, well, the internet, you have Google at your disposal, and you're not like going to a library doing your research yourself. It was so like useful and it was new. Everyone started using it and they couldn't stop it. I think overall, based on our main research question, or at least from what I've seen, it hasn't affected students' academia that much yet.
But given the responses that we got, I agree with you. I think most people think that it isn't really impacting their academics, but I think at the heart of it, are they still capable of critical thinking? I think people, yes, they would say yes, they are still capable. A concern for me is like hegemony in thinking, which I addressed earlier, but and I think people who like write their work and then put it through like a ChatGPT, whatever, it's me but different, the way that it's changing the way that you speak, and you think that that kind of writing style is what profs are actually going to look for, and focusing on that quality, I think it doesn't allow people to develop their own writing styles. And I think what's important is developing your voice and developing the way that you write and respond to certain things.
Even like algorithmic bias as well. Whatever GPT is using to find their information is going to be sourced out to the bulk of the people using it as well. So again, like writing style, but even the type of information that it's giving back, it's going to be fairly similar. And again, I think we'll see a lack of originality in a lot of students' work. I mean, we're seeing it. I've seen it now. I've read some of their papers that have used GPT, and it always sounds the same.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's students are losing their voice by using GPT that heavily.
So I think AI is now just a new tool. It's changing how we understanding knowledge, agency, and creativity itself. In Bean and Laser's article, they mentioned that automated influence operates not just by changing what people believe, but by shaping the processing through which beliefs and preferences are formed. That really made me think that how much of our decision making is already structured by the system we use every day. So from with LL, so I was also reminded that AI governance must balance innovation and efficiency with safeguards that protect human agency. I feel it's a balance is exactly where our generation is standing right now. We are encouraged to use AI for productivity and creativity. But at the same time, we are learning how now to let the think for us. And about the same time, I also see a portionally danger as Luo discussed in his chapter on ideology. Organized thought is never innocent. It always serves a purpose. We have to ask whose purpose is being served, and I think that's the key challenge. How to stay conscious to the power structures.
A UofT prof, and he's pro the use of AI in courses because firstly, he doesn't think it's going anywhere, and secondly, he thinks it's on faculty to change their syllabus and change their teaching approach in order to focus on more qualitative and critical thinking skills, and find ways to measure that. And the quote is, "We're entering a fascinating time in the history of AI, but I have two fears. One is that adaptation moves so fast that it creates enormous economic disruption, which could cause people across industries, including some professors, to lose their jobs." So that's an interesting note for academia and how it's going to impact faculty, and how is that going to impact academic institutions. In addition, the other fear is, of course, that we are not even sure what that adaptation could look like or what new skills that we should be teaching in the meantime.
As a group, we found ourselves genuinely divided, not because we disagreed on the impact of ChatGPT, but because we struggled with what the ideal academic environment should look like in the age of AI. In a perfect world, university work would be entirely human-driven. Students would analyze texts on their own, form their own arguments, and develop their own critical thinking skills without technological shortcuts. Ideally, ChatGPT would exist outside of academia altogether. But we also recognize that this simply isn't possible. AI is already deeply embedded in how students study, learn, and complete assignments. So instead of trying to eliminate it, universities need to find ways to combat misuse. This then led us to one of our core arguments, that ChatGPT should be treated strictly as a tool, not a replacement for learning. So our policy recommendation is this. UofT should adopt a human-in-the-loop learning policy. AI may assist, but students must show clear evidence of independent thought. This could include mandatory AI use disclosures, short reflection on what the student changed, in-class components tied to the same assignment, and verbal defenses or presentations. With these strategies, universities can accept the reality of AI while ensuring that learning remains a human-centered process. Ultimately, our group agrees on one thing. Even though ChatGPT is here to stay, students should never lose the ability to think and think critically without it.